relationships. But what if the key to a strong partnership isn't grand gestures, but how you handle forgotten chocolates? Today, we're diving into a story that might just change how you view those everyday relationship hiccups.
Oh, now that's an intriguing idea. What's the story behind this chocolate revelation?
Picture this. Rob and Jenny are in her car, heading to meet Jenny's parents. As they're driving, Jenny reminds Rob, "Don't forget the chocolates." But when she glances into the back of the car, there are no chocolates to be found. You can almost hear the exasperation in her voice as she says, "I don't believe it."
Uh-oh, I can feel the tension already. How does Rob respond to this discovery?
Well, Rob admits that he forgot the chocolates on the desk. But here's where it gets interesting. Jenny's next comment is, "Why don't you ever tidy?" Suddenly, we're not just talking about forgotten chocolates anymore. This small moment has opened up a much bigger conversation about their relationship dynamics.
Hmm. It's fascinating how these seemingly minor incidents can reveal so much about a couple's underlying issues. What do you think is really going on here?
You're right on the money. On the surface, it's about forgotten chocolates. But dig deeper, and we're looking at issues of responsibility, attentiveness, and different standards of organization. It's like a microcosm of their relationship playing out in this car ride.
That's a great point. It reminds me of a study I read recently about how couples handle small conflicts. The research suggested that it's not the conflicts themselves that predict relationship satisfaction, but how couples respond to them. Do you think that applies here?
Absolutely. That study hits the nail on the head. It found that couples who responded to these small conflicts with understanding, humor, and a focus on problem solving reported higher levels of relationship satisfaction. So, in Rob and Jenny's case, it's less about the forgotten chocolates and more about how they navigate this moment of tension together.
So true. And let's not forget, this is all happening in a car on the way to meet Jenny's parents. Talk about added pressure.
Oh, you're so right. Car rides can be like pressure cookers for relationship issues. There's no escape, no distraction, just you and your partner and whatever issue has come up. It's like, well, imagine being stuck in an elevator with someone you're arguing with, but the elevator is moving at 60 miles per hour towards your in-laws' house.
That's quite the vivid image. It makes me wonder, how common are these types of situations in relationships? Do you have any data on that?
Funny you should ask. A recent survey by the Gottman Institute found that 69% of relationship conflicts are about perpetual problems that never get resolved. These are often rooted in fundamental differences between partners, like different levels of organization or attention to detail. Sound familiar?
Wow, 69%. That's a staggering number. So how can couples like Rob and Jenny turn these moments into opportunities for growth rather than sources of ongoing conflict?
Great question. One key aspect is developing emotional intelligence and empathy. For instance, Rob could try to understand why the chocolates were so important to Jenny, beyond just being a gift for her parents. Maybe it represents her desire to make a good impression, or her way of showing care for her family.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about seeing the bigger picture and the intentions behind actions, rather than just focusing on the immediate mistake. How about Jenny? What could she do differently?
Well, instead of jumping to accusations like, "Why don't you ever tidy?" Jenny could express her feelings more directly. Something like, "I'm feeling stressed about meeting my parents, and the forgotten chocolates are adding to that stress. Can we figure out a solution together?" This approach addresses the immediate issue while also acknowledging the underlying emotions.
That sounds much more constructive. It's amazing how reframing the conversation could potentially change the entire dynamic of the situation.
Exactly. And here's something interesting. A study published in the Journal of Family Psychology found that couples who used we language during conflicts were more likely to resolve issues positively and report higher relationship satisfaction. So, Jenny saying, "Can we figure out a solution together?" could make a big difference.
Oh, that's fascinating. It's such a small linguistic change, but it seems to have a significant impact. Do you think there are other strategies couples can use in these moments?
Absolutely. Another important factor is how couples frame these incidents in their minds. Dr. John Gottman, a renowned relationship expert, talks about the concept of turning towards instead of turning away from your partner during moments of conflict. So instead of seeing the forgotten chocolates as a personal failure or attack, both Rob and Jenny could view it as an opportunity to problem solve together.
Hmm, that's a powerful shift in perspective. It's not about the chocolates anymore, is it? It's about how they face challenges as a team.
You've hit the nail on the head. And you know what? This applies to all of us, not just Rob and Jenny. We can all benefit from approaching these small conflicts as opportunities for growth and connection. It's about shifting our perspective from "you've let me down" to "how can we handle this together?"
That's such a valuable takeaway. Do you have any final thoughts or advice for our listeners who might be dealing with their own forgotten chocolates moments?
Well, as we wrap up today's episode, I think there are a few key points to remember. First, these small moments matter. They're opportunities to show up for your partner and strengthen your relationship. Second, try to respond with empathy and understanding, even when you're frustrated. And finally, look for ways to turn conflicts into collaborative, problem-solving sessions.
Those are excellent points. It's a reminder to all of us to pay attention to these small moments in our own relationships. They might seem insignificant, but they're often where the real work of building a strong partnership happens.
Absolutely, and perhaps most importantly, it's a call to approach these moments with empathy, understanding, and a willingness to work together even when the chocolates have been left on the desk. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about how you handle the imperfections together.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll leave our listeners to reflect on their own relationships. Any final words before we sign off?
Just a reminder that every relationship has its challenges, but it's how we navigate those challenges that defines us. Whether it's forgotten chocolates or something else entirely, approach these moments as opportunities to grow closer, understand each other better, and build a stronger partnership. Until next time, this is Gen FM, reminding you that every moment, big or small, is an opportunity to strengthen your connections with the people who matter most.